Welcome, welcome, welcome. You're in the right place at the right time. Today is Tuesday, and we're back. I'm telling you, it's a whole new year, 2025, and I'm so excited to come back and get my interviews going again right here on the Ask Dr.Ron show. We've been having a little technical difficulties last year. We had to shut down for a while, but we're back. And as always, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate you all for joining me and being a part of what we do here at the Ask Dr. Ron show. As always, I like to always give a shout out before every show. I like to shout out my mentor, Dr. Hunt, Lloyd Michael Hunt. Dr. Hunt and I have been traveling together for 30 plus years. And out of 30 plus years that we have been traveling together, he has been a blessing to me and a blessing to my family, just like I have been a blessing to him and his family. And the reason why I talk about my mentor as much as I do is because I want you to understand the importance of having a mentor. Somebody that you can trust, someone that has been in this world a long time, and they can help you navigate all the twists and turns in life. You know, sometimes, we feel like we got to struggle through life all by ourselves, but guess what? We don't have to. There are people that you can recruit to be mentors for yourself and your family to help you navigate. They've been here long enough. They can help you overcome some of the obstacles in life that you need to navigate through. So I say, get you a mentor and be a blessing to him as he is going to be a blessing to you. All right. I want to invite you guys to go over to my website, askdrron.com. When you get over there, I want you to browse around a little bit. I want you to take a look at some of my advertisers. This is a list of some of them here. The first one I want to talk about is Sir Synergy. Sir Synergy can help you navigate and understand about the solar energy industry. If you're thinking about putting solar panels on your business or your home, they can help you navigate. They are experts in the field. You definitely want to talk to them before you sign a contract with anybody so that you can understand what you are doing and you won't be blindsided by some things that you don't know about. Port Again Sam. Port Again Sam has been with me for 15 plus years. He brings in some of the best wines and spirits from all over the world. And I tell you, if you don't know about Port Again Sam by now, you better ask somebody. I tell you, I'm in love with his cognac myself. I had some friends over during the holiday season, and they kept bugging me like, hey, man, let's get to that cognac. Let's get to that cognac. And I'm like, nope, you better go see Sam. Sam got cognac. I'm not giving up mine because it's exclusive. You hear me? If you don't know, you better ask somebody. And if you have not had a wine tasting with Port Again Sam, you need to click on his banner, go over to his website, and set up an appointment so you can find out what your new favorite wine is going to be. And I want to talk about Prince Hunter Financial Group for a minute. Prince Hunter Financial Group is a regular on the show. They're an educational institution. They help people to understand what it is to get involved in the stock market or the Forex market. There are people making millions of dollars every day. Why shouldn't you? Prince Hunter Group can help you understand what it takes to create financial wealth permanently for your entire family. So I'm encouraging you to reach out to the Prince Hunter Financial Group. Now, they have a special promotion that they have with the Ask Dr. Ron show, that if you reach out to them, make an appointment, and tell them you heard about it here on the show, they'll give you 4 free classes. 4 free classes. Call them up and say, hey, I'd like to sign up for my 4 free classes, and that will start you on your journey to understand what the stock market is all about. So reach out to the Prince Hunter Financial Group. Well, you know, I've advertised it already. I'm excited to have a legend, a piece of history on the show today. My brother has been in the military. He's a hero. You know, he was over there fighting in Cuba. He was in the Civil War, you know, World War I, World War II, the Korean War, the Vietnam conflict, and probably this Russian war we about to get into. They'll probably bring him back to reenact some of his greatest battles to help them win. But welcome to the show for the very first time, my brother, my friend, Lamar Rogers.
Thank you, Dr. Ron, for having me.
Yes. Yeah. So which one of them wars were you really in? I know I named a bunch of them, but I just like to flex that I paid attention in history.
uh, yeah, I served in the Vietnam War.
Okay.
I,
That's all? Just Vietnam?
yeah, that was enough.
Okay. All right. Well,
Although I served in the military for 28 years, Vietnam lasted, for a very long time. So I was there several times.
yeah.
But I can only thank God as I look back that I survived it all.
I know that's right. And we thank God that you did too. You know, I affectionately call you Sarge. You know, he jumped on me one day. Don't call me Sarge no more. I was like, Sarge, you know, it's affectionately. You know, and he's Sergeant Major was his, I guess, your final rank when you came out?
Yes, I retired as a sergeant major. Yes.
Yeah, and I know Sarge give people pure D hell in the military. Anybody that's ever been in the military, you know when you come in contact with a sergeant, you might as well bend over and kiss your ass goodbye because they about to take a chunk out of it, okay? Because that's what they do. You know, they the pit bulls of the military, all branches, right?
Yeah, but I think that those days are long gone. I think the non-commissioned officer is my preferred term, and their job is to develop soldiers, to teach them how to fight and win, not so much to kick them around. You know, when I went into the Army, I think that statement was true. You know, somebody is always barking at you, but if a person has confidence in their own abilities, they don't have to do so much barking. They can train soldiers to be responsive and positive. And I think that's the role of an uncommissioned officer, to make sure that we have soldiers fit to fight and train to win. That's
Now, which branch were you affiliated with?
I was in the United States Army.
In the Army, okay. Now we know you're retired now. You know, I think you just had a birthday turn 80 years old, you know, last year, and you're going to be, 85 this year? You skip 5 at a time, right?
85 or 90. I don't know, but I thank God for every one of those years.
I know that's right. And being retired, I know in the community that you wear many hats. You know, you live in a town not too far from me. I'm in Country Club Hills, and I know you're in Hazelcrest. And I know one of the mayors over there, well, the mayor over there, Bernard, has been on the show many times and is a good friend. And he always promotes interaction from the community. So, being affiliated with Bernard, are you still doing stuff over there with Bernard? I know he's running for something now, I think, because he's always running for something.
Well, Bernard is a very interesting person. He also is a veteran.
Right,
He
Air
served in the
Force.
Air Force
Right,
for quite a while before he left. He didn't retire, but he is a physical therapist by trade.
right.
I met him years ago right after I retired, and he was actually my therapist working on my back.
Okay.
And he told me, he said, you know, I'm thinking about running for office and in Hazel Crest, and I want to know what you think about that. And I said, well, I'll tell you what, son, you go learn something about governance and then come back and tell me. So next time he told me, he said, well, I've got a master's now in public administration. So he he started running then. I supported him. He's a good man. Of course, every political figure who is working hard and determined to do good is going to get knocked around by people who oppose him, or but he has been great for the South suburbs.
Yeah.
He I think even when he ran for Cook County Commissioner, I
Mm-hmm.
remember reading that the Tribune said that when you look at the background of all the candidates, he is the person that they endorse because did so much in the Southland, working on economic development, bringing, partnering across the Southland for the growth of the community. So Bernard
Right.
is a person I respect, have a great deal of respect for, and I'm just now that his time is up as mayor, you know, I'm hoping that he can move forward because I think that in any position he's going to be great for the Southland,
Yeah.
and so
Yeah. Yeah.
those
They
are my
call. Yeah.
thoughts.
I think he was part of bringing in some industries into the area. Like they just opened up the almost what not too many months ago, the casino in the area. All of those things that are part of intergovernmental affiliations with one another.
Yeah, well, he has built strong partnerships across the Southland,
Hmm.
and because there are a number of excellent mayors
Hmm.
serving in the communities in the Southland. Bernard has built strong relationships by working with those other
Right.
governments
That's right.
to service our community. So I think that he's a talent that we would the Southland would suffer from losing. So
Yeah, and you say Southland. Some people are not familiar with the areas, but they had an organization, and we coined it at one time. They had the Black Mayors and Managers Organization, and then they had the white one. And Bernard has served as president or leader of both of those organizations, if not at the same time, right close to the same time. So he was able to spearhead a lot of inter-community, actions to, like I said, to make things work
yeah,
in our
and
areas.
I think we're moving away from those distinctions in the Southland. We had he chaired the mayors and managers
Hmm.
association, helped bring in the uniform economic development programs while
Hmm.
he was there. He did serve as the chair of the Black Mayors and Managers Association, but
Hmm.
I think folks in the Southland are starting to understand that we're a unit, and what's good for one is good for
Yeah.
all of us.
Yeah.
And we have to like building the airport out here, those kinds of things that everybody's been talking about, but nobody has signed on the dotted line to make it be a reality. And I think a lot of it has to do with who populates the Southland.
Yeah.
The racial makeup of the Southland has hindered uh, development out here. It's
Yeah.
not that our mayors and trustees or aldermen don't care. It is the same old game. I remember talking to Robert Kennedy when he was running for governor, and he mentioned that to me. If you look at the Southland and then look at Wisconsin, our neighboring states, he said all of the rail services are there. Why aren't they here in Illinois? Because this is a natural hub. But because of the racial demographics, we don't have the support in
Right.
the community. I remember one candidate running for mayor said to us, he said, "Well, when the white guys get together and divide up the pot, you guys are the last consideration." And then I
Right.
said to him, and I said, and what were you doing at at those meetings?
Right.
You know, you can't be part of the negative and then try to turn that into a positive.
Right.
But we have mayors like out in Richton Park, great mayor who has the heart. He's another mayor like Bernard Alsbury who has done tremendous things to help in the growth of the south suburbs. So I'm a supporter, and I'm not one to say that one thing in front of him and something else behind his back.
Right.
And you know, I've had my ups and downs with Bernard too. I mean, because I'm going to tell him like it is, and sometimes we all bite at each other. But when it's all said and done, I think he is. I think that he's a guy that is dedicated to the development and growth of the Southland. That's all.
I get it. Yeah. Well, and you're right. That airport, you spoke about the airport, that's been put on hold going all the way back to when Jesse Jackson Jr. was in
10
Congress.
years or so.
Yeah, more than that, seemed like.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a project that they wanted to put like an industrial airport there, to take some of the heavy lifting off of, O'Hara
Hmm.
and some of the other, heavy lifting off of Midway.
Hmm.
But then they turn around and man, they haven't done anything, nothing.
Yeah, and
And it's just been sitting there, and we don't even know where the buck stops at, because you got to
yeah,
get permission from the FAA in order to put it in, right?
but that would take the governor's office. We've had to really push that project, and I don't know where the governor what his mindset is. I've heard him talk about it, but it seems to me after all of this time, it'd be time for action, to
Yeah.
actually have some things done.
Hmm.
So, and to, but I think that I just think there's economic disparity, and I think that maintaining that is more important to some elements within the state than actually
Yeah,
seeing that
yeah,
go.
and I remember there were some development talks in Pembroke, which is a poor community not
Yeah,
very far from where they were going to do the airport, and they were doing development there, getting ready for support for the airport. Like reefer units, cleaning services for the airplanes, maintenance for the airplanes, things like that, and it just nothing has happened.
yeah, but
And,
that community has suffered from despair from since the Civil War.
right.
It's if you are familiar with the history of Pembroke and that area, uh, it was just neglected, completely neglected, and
Mm-hmm.
I was there is the publisher of uh, newspaper, the Southland.
Mm-hmm.
He's from that area over in Kankakee.
Mm-hmm.
And I talked with him about that some time ago, and I went and got the book. There's a book that talks about Pembroke, and he had been, working to try to interested in trying to get some development in there, like because of its location. They were saying,
Mm-hmm.
like putting the Amazon warehouses out there
Mm-hmm.
because of the interconnection on the road system. So he was Pembroke is a stain, on the state,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah, because for a long time they didn't even have their own post office or zip
nothing,
code or nothing.
right?
Nothing like that at all. That was they.
Even
Yeah, they were equivalent to poverty in rural Mississippi, and that's in Illinois. Yep.
and even when they do the census, they can't get an accurate count of the people because of where they live,
Right.
off the beaten path. And I yeah, again, it's a stain on the state and something that
Yeah.
should be
Yeah. Well, hey, it's been a long time coming,
addressed.
so hopefully it will come. I know that they're doing development in organic farming and things
Right.
like that. They've got what do you call it? The ergonomics where they grow stuff inside. And bring it up to Chicagoland area because we're considered a food desert in Illinois, and Pembroke got ahead of that and developed some projects to try and help bring some food closer than where it normally comes from. So, obviously, you are very familiar with politics and history in the area. Now, are you from the Illinois, Chicagoland area
Yeah,
originally?
I was born and raised in Hyde Park in
Okay.
Chicago. Um, Way back in the 1800s. If you,
I knew you was a rough rider. I knew you was. You trying to play it like you wasn't. You and Teddy Roosevelt was smoking cigars down in Cuba together.
yeah, we might have been smoking, but with no cigar.
Yeah, yeah. So, and being from Chicago, you've seen a lot of things evolve. You know, to where we are now. So from then till now, what would you be a real quick observation? Is it better, worse, same?
Sadly, I think that in the city of Chicago, when I think about the growth in the black community, when my father, came from Louisiana, and my mother was from Mississippi. Uh, my father left Louisiana and traveling north, went to Mississippi, stayed there for a few years, and worked there for a few years, and then came moved to Chicago during early 1940s. He worked at a company called Studebaker. I don't know if you remember
The
those cars
cars,
right
yeah,
after the horse and buggy.
yeah.
Yeah,
Spooderbeckers. They supposed to be the
he,
best cars ever made. They say.
and
Yeah.
and then he before he got sick, he got really sick, and he did some of everything to keep the family together. He owned a couple of buildings and just worked hard. He just worked hard, and as long as he was able to, he was a big believer in education. You know, I have 8 brothers. I had 8 brothers and sisters, and you know, being 2 generations removed from the rural South, you know, my parents can look and see that they have PhDs, grandchildren who PhDs. They have doctors in the family. My family is pretty well educated. I'm pretty proud of the accomplishments, and that's what they instilled in us. Although, like a lot of guys in Chicago, I took the rough way around.
Mm-hmm.
But I finally ended up getting my master's, a couple master's degrees, and I'm watching my daughter now. She'll be a doctor also here in a couple of months.
Okay.
She's she's uh,
Congratulations. Yeah.
she's getting her PhD in workforce development. She works for the state of Illinois. She's assistant regional director for the Office of Employment Security district out in Harvey. And my son uh, has a degree in psychology. But after he got his degree, I was surprised when he said, I'm going back and get a degree in mathematics. And I said, well, I didn't even know he had any interest in math, but he's an entrepreneur, and he works for Department of Illinois Health and Human Services,
Mm-hmm.
and plus, like I said, he's got a couple of businesses that he runs. He's a smart guy. I think his whole heart is being a dad. He's got 2 sons and a daughter that he just adores, and made sure that before they started school they could read and do the basic things that he'd been taught. So I'm proud of both of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you should be. So, do you think it's easier to make it in Chicago now than it was when you were coming up?
I think if you're talking about in the black community, I think that the opportunity for education is there. And I think that it's hard fought efforts to bring educational resources to our community. But I look back at a study conducted by University of Illinois uh, that talked about a generation of black youth that had been lost. In fact, that's the article, "Lost Generation," and it talked about the number of our students who were dropping out. From 18, I think, to 16, I think, to 2024. That's what they define as the lost generation. So I think that a person can make it, but I am very disappointed in the progress uh, that's been made in our communities since I grew up uh, in Chicago.
Yeah,
I,
that's a debate I would have to have with you because I try to encourage people to find what their niche is and not necessarily college is everybody's niche.
I agree with you.
Yeah, like when I was coming up, one of the things that I found, which was more comfortable for me in the beginning, was tech. I was into electronics and electricity, and that drew my interest. And everything tech, I gravitated to, like welding. I didn't circle back around to academia until later, in life, after I realized I can't do this for the rest of my life. But I also worked in the entertainment industry, so, when I slowed down long enough, but like my son, using him as an example, he was not junior college material for nothing. He
Hmm.
graduated from high school without a high school education. He had a diploma, but he didn't
Hmm.
have the education, and he was not by himself. A lot of people that went to Prairie State and other college junior colleges, they had to take less than 100 sub classes to get a high school education first.
Hmm.
So, and then you think about those that have gone to school for 4 years, they get out, they owe more than they're able to make. So, education for us sometimes I think is overrated. What's a better opportunity? What I saw was a better opportunity for me and some folks were like get into some of these unions and make some real money.
Yeah, and I agree with you. And in fact, when I worked uh, with a organization that provides services to veterans, that was one of the things that I worked on with the unions. In fact, I had a meeting over in Thornton Township and brought the union in to recruit uh, folks to go into apprenticeship program. And sadly, it didn't work out as well as I thought, I, as well as I wanted it to. But we made that effort. But here, you take the state of New York. When kids go to high school, they take one of two tracks. They can either take the college track or they can go trade, and the school prepares them, and if they do their apprenticeship and a lot of that work while they're in high school. So when I talk about a person being prepared to to go out in life and make a living, whether it be as a business leader or as a plumber, I'm not saying that one is better than the other.
Got you.
But what I look at, and as the University of Illinois showed us, is that so many of our youth are not taking either track.
Right.
I remember
Right.
when
Right. They get discouraged early on.
Artie Duncan started a program here, and he was paying young men to prepare for a job. And I talked to one of the people that was on his staff, and what they told me was that as long as the young men and women were getting paid, they showed up, they went through how to do a resume, how to do everything, but as soon
Right.
as they stopped getting paid,
They stop showing up.
it just went, it just,
Yeah.
everybody just went away.
Right.
So that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. It's not what a person does for a living. We need electricians, we need plumbers, we need
Right.
house painters. uh, there's numerous trades. I worked with Mayor Alsbury on a program with Chicago State and we were going to take the area that's being developed now as an art district in Hazelcrest.
Mm-hmm.
We worked with Chicago State. We were going to take that same area and bring them in to work with youth who somehow got off the track for for education, and we were going to start a Chicago State campus out here
Mm-hmm.
in Hazelcrest. And and I think what happened was there was a business over in that area that the university didn't want to be associated with.
Gotcha.
But that stopped that. But this is a thing that we did with Mayor Alsbury. We worked
Mm-hmm.
very hard on it, and during
Yeah.
that same period, we worked with the president of Paul Quinn College
Mm-hmm.
in Texas, and we were looking to do the same kind of thing with him because the president of the college comes to Chicago recruiting. He grew up in Homewood.
Okay.
He was a sports attorney, and then he was asked to take over Paul Quinn College, and he built that college up from the ground up. Couldn't afford football, so they took the football field and turned it into a farm,
Right.
and they raise crops and they sell them to the Dallas Cowboys and
Mm-hmm.
Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah, they feed
He
them.
he worked with Harvard and some of the bigger colleges,
Right.
and so he sends his students to Harvard for a couple of weeks. They send Harvard students to his college. It's a great college, and it's a work study, the only work study university I, that HBCU in the country,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a fabulous school. It's a liberal arts college, but they're doing Dr. Sorrell is the president of that college, and fascinating man. I met him several times. I went out to Paul Quinn College with Mayor Alsbury. So I mean, so the efforts have been made. People
Right.
may not be aware of them, but many efforts have been made to grow the South, the Southland, and bring in those services that we need.
For our young people.
Yes, exactly.
Well, look, I'm gonna skip gears a little bit. We talked enough about some of your exploits. I want to talk about one in particular.
Okay.
Back in June of this year, you were awarded the Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award. And when I was coming up as a kid, we learned how, because I'm so much younger than you, we learned how to give honor and double honor to those that are worthy. Not just a businessman in the community, not just a person that have served this country, that didn't love you. You served it well. But then you came back and began to serve your community, wholeheartedly, working with local politicians and keeping them on track. Because nobody wants Sarge biting the chunk out of their butt. So they're gonna listen to what he got to say and see how they can make it happen. But what did that award mean to you and do for you, this past, coming forward, to where you are now?
I'll tell you what, I never looked for awards. What I gave to my community was came from my heart. But I'll tell you, I was surprised and I can't put into to words how much that award meant to me. It's a Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award, but it comes from the community. It came from you. It came from people who were aware of the kind of things that I was involved in the community. And, I've had medals, I've got things from the military, I've got awards from work and stuff, but this was just mind-boggling to me that anyone would think that much of me to even consider me for an award of that magnitude. And I I just don't. I don't know. I can't put into words how great that made me feel. It's uh, it's an honor that I never anticipated. I never gave any thought to. Tell you to be frank with you, I didn't even know what it was. but but once I found out, and I was just I was just all in awe, and just I don't know what else to say. I mean, it's just and it comes from the community, from you, from other people who supported my receiving that award. That is just mind-boggling. I don't know what else to say. It was just something that I will value, and hopefully my family will beyond the grave. It meant that much to me.
Yeah. It was interesting. We had the event, and people have heard me talk about it. Back in June, 6/22 was the date.
Hmm.
And as we began to approach the event day, Sarge was like, can I get two more tables? Can I get three more tables? At first he only needed two. Everybody got two tables. But then as we got closer, there were people that became aware of the celebration and what it was about. Then Sarge was like, "Man, I need some more room. I can't leave these people out in the parking lot. They got to be able to get in." And believe it or not, we had close to 250, 300 people that came to support the honorees on that day. It was such a memorable event that it was an honor and a privilege. And I have to tell this story every show that I do. I was nominated for the award, got the award, and I was like, I don't deserve nothing like this. And because I know me, right? My background, all the foolishness I did. But when I got the award, then I had something drop in my spirit that blessed me. Was that I didn't get to this point in my life by myself.
Exactly.
There were others that I was, in communication with, people that I have known. And I went all the way back to the 60s to invite people to help me, celebrate and to be received awards on that same day. My grammar school gym teacher, he'd been on the show talking about what it meant to him, and people through the 70s, other politicians in the area, John Thompson, economic development, former Alderman Otis Gilmore of Harvey. I mean, it was just people that have been long overdue for us to say thank you to, you know. And when I came in contact with Sarge, I was like, man, you got to get in the world. You about one of the oldest ones here. You just turned 80. Walter's 80, 83, so he got you by a few years, but y'all up there together. Y'all wasn't what when it come to age. but it's a thank you. It's heartfelt thank you for all that you have done. Just the first half of this show, you've been talking. If I mention, airport, you give me a story. If I mention Cabrini Green, you got a story. So you've been involved in our community, for so long, as a historian, as an activist. Now I got to tell you business now. When I first invited him to come get this award, he told me, I don't want that shit. And then he had 5 tables, people show up. But it's an honor to be able to be in your circle. When I call him, he answers the phone. It's crazy. Last year in January, I had a knee replacement surgery, and the year before, Sarge had one. So I've been following behind him because he's so much older than me, getting stuff fixed. I'm like, well, what I got to look forward to? And then he tell me, yeah, this, and this, and he dead on the money when it come to telling me what's what. I'm telling you, boy, he's on point. So I listen very closely when he speak. He don't know that all the time, but I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we've got more work to do. It's not over. I got a couple of questions I want to ask you. Today, all over the media, there's a, laying to rest or putting in, Jimmy Carter, 100 years old, president that did the best he could when he was president and even when he wasn't president. How do you feel about, how they're honoring him? Are they giving him his due?
I think so. Jimmy Carter, and a little story to tell you. When he was president, I was stationed at Wiesbaden Air Force Base in Germany. We
Mm-hmm.
were the 4th Brigade of the 8th Infantry Division.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, we left Fort Carson and deployed to Germany. Jimmy Carter came to Germany with Amy and his wife, and we paraded for him and all of that. And he, we were working on modernization of the Army at that time. But Jimmy Carter, he was also a veteran. He was a
Mm-hmm.
Navy.
Pilot, right?
No, he was a submarine
Okay.
officer. He was he thought that was going to be his career, but then he went back to planes and became a farmer. But the amazing thing about Jimmy Carter is that he's devoted his entire life to public service,
Mm-hmm.
even in his community, teaching Bible school and stuff well
Absolutely.
into his
Yep.
90s, when he knew that his health was failing him, and he went into hospice. They were saying that they were going to keep doing this and that for him, and he said no. My time is coming, so they're keeping him comfortable for several years like that.
Mm-hmm.
But he was a true Christian, uh, and an honorable man.
Yeah.
So I think he deserves the recognition that he's receiving now in his final hours, uh, before his burial, I should say.
Yeah.
So yeah, I admired him, and I don't admire, as you know, I don't admire many politicians, but
Right.
he's a
Right.
person I admired.
Right. Now, quick question, because we got about 5 minutes, and I'm gonna
Sure.
let's just wrap up. What you think? What we got to look forward to in the United States? Going forward from here.
That's a tricky question.
Okay.
I think there are several avenues that we have to look at. One of them we is that I think that there's risk of war. You know, when we're talking about taking territory that belongs to another nation,
Come on now.
that's that's a risk of war. I think that the economically, I think that the nation will rebound. I think that really it's too early to know what is going to happen over the next 2 years, because that is going to determine the next 2 years is going to determine the future of this country. And I think that the nation being split the way it has been uh, is a danger in itself.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I can't really make a prediction. Well, I can tell you that I pray that we stay out of conflict. That I'm praying that there's a resurgence of liberty in this country. I believe that the leaders of our nation have become too self-involved. And I think that's what we saw in the last election. And people were saying enough, enough. You know, we've had enough of this. You're pushing us too far right. You're pushing us too far left. And this country is centrist. Most of the people in this country, uh, is a centrist nation. We're not leaning way left or way right. And somehow we've got to bring, and this is just my personal feeling, religion back into our society. You know, people blame the loss of faith and on COVID and all of those things, but it's not that. It's greed, I think,
Yes.
and uncaring, not caring enough about our neighbors. You know, when I grew up, you know, the south side of Chicago had a thriving black community. We
Yep.
had our own doctors, we had our own businesses, we had our Regal Theater, our Tivoli Theater,
Absolutely.
places where we came together to grow a community.
Right.
And we had values, and there was mores that led us to where we are now. And I mean, I've been off the path. I'm not gonna tell the world that, oh, I've been a moral and upstanding person, because I did all the stuff that you
Right.
ain't supposed to do in my life. But there was a path that I
Mm-hmm.
was following that got me to here
Right.
and got me to where I could teach my children and guide them, you know, in a different direction. So, but to answer your question, I just don't know.
Yeah. That's an honest answer, and I thank you for that. You know, I just want to say thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to come and be on the show and tell us about your experiences and your journey up to this point. I know we can't cover it all in an hour, but we covered a lot of territory today, and I just want to thank you once again. Now, I always like to ask my guests two questions before we end the show. The first question is, will you come back and see me again?
Of course.
All right, I got to
That's
get it
what
on tape, man. So look,
we
look when you tell me you ain't coming, I say I got it on video. And the next question is, what would you like to leave with the people before you leave the show today? What would you like to leave with them?
I would just ask that we pray for our country. We pray for each other that we find a way out of the dismal uh, circumstances that we've experienced over the last few years, and that we do all that we can to support our youth, because that is our future. And and basically that's it.
Thank you.
Pray
Thank you
for the
for that.
children.
Yeah. Yeah. Pay for the future of our communities, our people, our family. I understand,
Right.
because without the future, we cease to exist as a people.
Yeah, and that's it. My
Yeah.
life was. I thank God every day for another day, but I have those that are coming behind me, and I want
You
them
want
to
them to
grow up.
be, you want them to stand on your shoulders and keep on going.
That's exactly right.
I get it. I get it. And once again, thank you so much. I appreciate you. I love you, and ain't nothing you can do about it. And, we're going to talk off the air, but I want you to stay right there. Let me end the show.
Okay.
I want to invite people to join me each and every Saturday. I have a show from the desk of Dr. Ron where I get a chance to tell you guys what's on my mind, what's on my heart, and I get a chance to encourage you and push forward so you guys can glean from me what I've been going through on this week and encourage you to go forward. We also have a show that we're planning on bringing back each Wednesday. We used to do a show, Street News Now, the Noon Report, every Wednesday at noon. We're talking about bringing it back. You'll be able to find it on the same channel, same network. You'll be able to find us and be able to hear, what we talk about as a news brief. It's just like news according to us, the way we see it. And it's a pretty good show. So we're talking about bringing it back. We're also talking about bringing back the Black History Moment. The Black History Moment was something we did every Sunday. Where we talked about our heroes and sheroes more than just in Black History Month. It's 365 days out of the year Black History. So we're talking about bringing that show back. And I just want to encourage you all to make donations and contributions. I can't do it without you. I appreciate you guys, all the people that have made donations and contributions, to continue to do so. These are all the ways that you can support what we're doing. I need you all to just pick a donation method and just do it. While you're here, hit that subscribe, like, and share. Share with somebody. Let them get a chance to understand what you just understood and hear about what you just heard about. Sarge has been giving us some powerful testimony, and I think you guys understand. If you witnessed it, paid attention to it, share it, spread it around so that people can understand who we have in our midst and who our heroes are in our community. Well, that being said, I just want to thank you guys. I love you guys. Catch me coming up on Saturday. I love you guys. You be safe. Stay warm if you're in Chicago or on the East Coast where it drops some heavy weather on you. Be blessed.